Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and today I'm going to have a little catch up with my friend and guest spinster Robyn. If you have been subscribed to this channel for a while, then you might recognise her from the charity shop book haul videos that we did regularly before all of the charity shops closed. And we've also done a few other videos generally sort of talking about reading habits, reading lives, and second-hand book shopping. Now, obviously we haven't been able to do a video for a while because of lockdown restrictions, but today I'm going to give her a little video call and see what she's been up to during this lockdown. So, how have you been in lockdown?
That's a very open-ended question, Claudia. Where do I begin? um, Overall, not great, but surviving, coping, finding really good ways of connecting, which is, something that I think we've all taken for granted and have realized just how beneficial human contact really is, So I'm feeling wobbly, but like feeling hopeful for when it's all over, hopefully.
My life really hasn't changed that much. I feel kind of guilty when I say that because I guess the main difference is that I haven't been to a shop in 3 months. If people don't know, Robyn, you are a teacher, which
Yeah.
suddenly makes you like as if, for centuries people haven't noticed that teachers do an important job. All of a sudden you're a key worker. How does that feel?
Well, I've been teaching as a qualified teacher for a year, but obviously with a postgraduate teaching sort of certificate, you have a year of practice and then a year of being the real deal. So officially 2 years, officially 1 year, but overall 2 years. And the whole time I've felt really privileged because it's just I have 6 hours, 5 days a week with all these children who are so dependent. I teach primary school, so dependent. So you're not just a teacher, you're a mum, you're a dad, you're a brother, you're a sister, you're a friend, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're a counsellor, you're everything. And then you have to teach them on top of that. So I find it a really privileged job to be in. So for me, it just feels like an extension of my job. So it doesn't feel like I think for me, it's just, I feel like I'm doing civil duty. So there's been a lot of argument about, teachers haven't had Easter this year and they haven't had half-term holiday and they haven't had this and they haven't had that and it's like, yeah, but it's just like a duty, isn't it? Like I'm in this job for the right reasons. I want to care and nurture and obviously teach. And so if that means I have to do that during the holidays, well, so be it. It's a pandemic.
Yeah, well, do you feel like the attitude maybe of society or the UK specifically towards teachers has changed for the better during the pandemic?
I think a lot of people are very much like, what? How do you do this 5 days a week? I can't teach my child for an hour, let alone the whole day. How do you manage your day? How do you cope with your time? How do you deal with their behavior problems? So there's a lot of that. And we still have to make phone calls to check that everybody is okay, which is good. I enjoy that. So it's nice when you have parents going, oh my goodness, I'm just, absolutely amazed at how you can manage this with 30 of them, not just one or two, 30. How do you do that? But then on the flip side, there are quite a lot of people saying, well, teachers are literally being paid to be babysitters at the minute because we're going in once, we're on a rota, so we're going in once or twice a week looking after the children of key workers, so nurses and doctors and shop people, everyone who's a key worker, we're looking after their children and vulnerable children, so the ones that maybe aren't likely to be fed at home.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, we have been told by the government it is childcare. We are not teaching because it's not fair for all the children that are at home to not have the same, so, but we're still working online, we're still doing lots of things, but I think because it's so behind the scenes now, a lot of people are thinking, what are you complaining about not having no Easter holidays and half-term holidays? You've got all this time off. And I think a lot of people are still under the assumption that, well, we get paid lots of money, and really we're not doing anything. There's people being furloughed, and we should be furloughed because we're not doing anything. It's like, we are. So to answer your question, I think it's a really massive 50-50 split now, which is better than what it was before. Before, I would say about 75% of people thought we were just in these jobs that were a piece of cake.
Yeah, so I think the disruption in my life has been relatively minimal. Obviously, the fact that I'm having to delay moving back to my home country is hard, but I know it's going to happen eventually. But you've had possibly one of the biggest disruptions to your life plans. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I was due to be married in April, which here in I think UK and Wales where we live, it's kind of peak, what do you call it, the peak COVID case, that was the, so there was no way, even if it was just the two of us, there was no way that we could have been married. So we had to postpone. And I'll tell you I'll sort of break it down to how fast it happened, because it was unreal how fast it happened. So of course, with weddings, you want everything to run smoothly. So I had a hair trial on the Sunday. I can't remember what the date was exactly, but I had a hair trial. And I think it was when, things were starting to trickle into the media about, something's going to happen in the UK with coronavirus, but it wasn't scary enough to feel real. So at the hair trial, I was still very optimistic. My hairdresser had said, "How are you feeling about all this COVID?" I said, "I'm not postponing. I'm having a party. I don't care about COVID. It's not here. I'm not scared."
Oops.
It's my fault there's coronavirus here. I've jinxed it. But no, so I had my hair all done, and I'd come home, and my partner, Jimmy, had said, I know you just had your hair trial, but have you seen the news? And I hadn't seen the news for about an hour and a half since I'd been in the car coming back. And it wasn't looking too good. But we just thought, you know what? We don't know for sure. We don't know what's truth and what's not. So we will call all the venue, the suppliers, everyone tomorrow. So this is Monday. Monday we called everybody, and pretty much everybody said, well, you're not getting your money back if you cancel, because we paid up. We were 4 weeks away from the wedding. So they said, you're not getting your money back unless we are told by the government that we have to postpone and we have to cancel because of this pandemic. So really, without wanting to lose loads of money, we had to sort of say, okay, well, we're just going to have to do it then, and might not have the elderly with us, but at least everyone else can make it. And then the same day, the guidance, advice, not rules, nothing like that, just gentle hints came out that you should not attend mass gatherings, and you should not travel
and not go to the pub. I remember that Boris Johnson saying avoid going to the pub, and then like 5 minutes later his own father said, well, I'm gonna still go to the pub. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It was no pub, no mass gatherings, and no driving unnecessarily, basically. So you couldn't go on holiday, you couldn't do a road trip, none of that. So then on Tuesday, we called the suppliers again and said, so since we phoned you yesterday, 24 hours ago, this has come out. Well, how do you feel about it? So all the suppliers said, let's postpone. I think it would be a good idea to postpone, but it's your choice. My venue, however, said, well, it's technically not a mass public gathering because it's a private venue. So, and we said, okay, but it is a mass gathering because, we've got there's 100 guests invited. So there's 100 people gathering. To me, that's a mass gathering. There are people traveling from, my dad was coming from the UAE. He's still there, sadly. My auntie was coming over from France. I had someone coming from Australia. I had people traveling from London to Wales. So literally all the advice would have been, just ignored had we, we just said to them, we can't ask people to ignore the advice. And they said, well, and fair enough, they're a business, they have to keep ticking over, they have no other means of income. So I do understand, but it was frustrating because we thought, well, oh, that was kind of like the biggest chunk of our budget, and they're kind of saying, well, tough shit. Can I swear? Sorry, this all comes out when I'm talking about this. And then the Wednesday, we postponed. So the venue were cool with it. Everyone was cool with it. We had no choice. They were saying the peak would be in April. So, you know, there's nowhere.
Beetle saying hello.
Hi, Beetle.
I remember talking to you pretty much every day while that was going on. And every day you got slightly less optimistic. We're talking to the other bridesmaids, and everyone was kind of almost forcing an optimism. And I'm definitely the least optimistic of the bunch, right? I mean, I like to think of myself as a realist. I think actually I'm probably quite a pessimist. And I was talking to you saying, this might not happen, but at the same time I didn't want to be like what's the English phrase, the negative Nancy or whatever. I didn't want to party pooper, yes. I didn't want to bring down the mood with the other girls because we were so excited about the hen do, about just the whole thing, you know. It's a wonderful thing, a wedding, and we were all really looking forward to it and getting together. And then from one day to the next, it was just, yeah, this is cancelled. It's not happening in April.
So Claudia is my maid of honour, and has been such an honourable maid of honour. She's just been wonderful, supportive, and I'm not just saying that because you're on the other end of a screen. And I think I needed that realism. I think it was lovely to have optimism. You know, lots of people were being optimistic. Even Jimmy's grandpa, who's in his 90s, was like, oh, don't worry, I'll be there. But I did need that bit of realism, and I think it did make it easier to come to terms with it, because that kind of, you were almost like subtly preparing me for the worst, which is what happened. And then we've got Ellie, who is, so we're all university friends, that's the context. And so Ellie moved back to her home in America. So she was going to be flying over from America. And luckily, she hadn't booked her flight, because that is Ellie, lastminute.com. So, you know, luckily she hadn't booked her flight. But even Ellie was saying, look, I want to see you be wed to Jimmy. I want to be there. So even if you don't have the big wedding and you're just going to have a registry office wedding with a few people, I'm going to be offended if I'm not one of those few people.
And then Holly is very much the kind of getting shit done type of person, right? So she's like, doesn't take no for an answer. She's like, we're going to find a way of doing this.
She was like, well, I booked the Airbnb for the hen do and I have all of the things ready.
Yeah, so she had the dress. She has, like, you know, she had everything planned out. She's probably got an Excel spreadsheet, probably. And even she, you know, we're trying to find a solution. We're trying to find a way of still getting this wedding going.
So, you know, I just have such a supportive team with you guys. And I think, you know, for me, the wedding obviously is all about me and Jimmy getting married and celebrating us, but also I have a real, just my whole life, because I've moved around so much, moved all around the world, I haven't ever had a solid friendship base. I've got friends all around the world, but they're not solid because I moved all the time. You guys, you know, all being together. Holly was in London for a while and, you know, lives a couple hours away now. Ellie's obviously in America. So, you know, it was just, I was so excited for us all to be back together. And same with my family. My dad lives in the UAE, so I was looking forward to him being back, and all my family are so spread out that it was going to be amazing to have them together. And I think because that hasn't happened, that was more of the problem for me than actually not marrying Jimmy, because I know it's going to happen and I love him and I can see him every day and I'm with him and it's fine. And I think for me it was just that everyone getting together and being together and celebrating us. So it will happen. It will happen. I've postponed to March. So can everyone on your subscribers list just have all your fingers and toes crossed for March?
Yeah. And more importantly, can everyone in my subscribers list stay home and wear a mask when you're out and about? That will really help.
But have you sort of found that lockdown has given you any chance for hobbies or sort of starting up new routines or anything like that? Have you has anything changed with your, I know you said it's not changed much, but have you had time for anything now that you maybe wouldn't have had time for before?
Yeah, I think so. So I've been knitting like crazy, right? I've been just like knitting so much. I've been crocheting. I've started to sew. I've sewn a lot of things that aren't very good that I'm not going to be able to wear because they're not very good and don't fit. But, you know, it's all practice. It's all practice. And I've been exercising every day, like going on over 3 months now. I've actually done a workout 5 days a week. And that is a habit that I've never had in my life. Even when I was, you know, more active, like when I was playing Quidditch at university, I did not move as much as I'm moving now, which is really good. It's really fun. I've been reading less though. I feel like, you know, I look at what I've read in a month and it's like 2, maybe 3 books, which is less than I normally read. So that's definitely been a downside. How about you? Have you picked up any new habits?
I don't think I have picked up any new habits. I think because of all the wedding stuff and because of, you know, work being so upside down, that's been quite difficult. So I haven't really felt that sort of creative outlet. I haven't really felt like that into sort of having me time, which has then itself had a sort of knock-on effect. But I have slowly, you know, I sort of do bits. So I've not had a habit that you've had where you know, every day you've done exercise, every day you've done this. But what I have done is I've dipped into playing a bit more of my piano and my ukulele, and I've dipped into my plants. So I'd neglected my house plants for quite a while, so I'm now sort of going back, making sure they're watered, feeding them, looking after them again, which is great. And then obviously I've got the dog, who is, I have to show you. Yeah, just fast asleep, my 3-legged dog. So he's been the best company. My partner is luckily able to work now. He was off for I think a month. He's a tree surgeon, so he's back to work, which is great. It's the most socially distanced job you have. But, you know, so I have to get out of bed for the dog. So he gets me outside, he gets me walking. So I suppose I have been walking him every day, but that hasn't changed in terms of before lockdown. It just means I'm doing more longer walks again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I haven't been very good in terms of picking up anything, but I'm okay with it. I don't feel, you know, I'm just surviving the lockdown. I'm doing what I can and working. So
I think that's the main thing. We shouldn't put so much pressure on ourselves to do all of these new things, and to be like productive. And actually, I find, for example, with the knitting, like if Minerva, can you just with knitting, for example, it sounds like so productive, like I'm knitting all the time. But the truth is, I do it while I watch like crap on the TV. You know, I have not. It's not like it's a highly intellectual pursuit or you know whatever. I just knit really easy things while I watch the telly.
So just as a like disclaimer that everyone seems to be doing now, we are now legally allowed to sit in each other's gardens. Because we're within a 5-mile radius of each other, so I can drive.
Yeah, this is Wales-specific rules, by the way, because people seem to think that the England rules actually apply to all of the United Kingdom, which isn't true.
No, so this is Wales-specific. So I live within a 5-mile radius of Claudia, therefore I am legally allowed to go and drive to her and sit outside, but we couldn't sit outside with someone else from a different household. It's 2 households only, so Claudia and myself, which is fine. You know, it's great, it's lovely. But there was one time, and this is on the knitting subject, Claudia had told me about her project. She'd shown me a few of her items, and she said, oh, there's this one really nice vesty top that I've made, but I don't really like the wool on it. Would you like to try it maybe? And I was like, bearing in mind, they probably don't know.
I'm 5 foot or 1.52 meters.
And I am 5'8". And so Claudia brings out this, what to me looked like a sports bra, a knitted sports bra, and said, just see, maybe you can try it on. I literally held it up, and it was like the arms were like there, so I wouldn't have got my arm in, and it ended about there. It was the crop of crop top. It was so cropped. It was a bra. But on Claudia, it looked like a decent crop top. Yeah. But it's great that you can make it to fit you and to custom make you. But if you ever made me a crop top or a vest top or any kind of jumpery top, we are going to have to sort measurements out, seriously. Lockdown overall hasn't been great, but like I said at the very beginning, I feel like, you know, we are appreciative of people more, and that contact and that, you know, making sure everyone's okay. You know, I think we just take it for granted that, well, we have phones and I can see you whenever, so if you're not okay, I can just pop around, that's fine. Whereas now I've been really more aware of the fact that, you know, I want to be checking in on people and I want to make sure they're okay, because it's important to me. It's more important to me than rushing around leading a busy life. And, you know, I think it's nice to have a slower pace for sure.
Even like with the cancelled wedding, the cancelled moving plans, we are lucky in that we haven't caught the virus. We haven't had any direct like health implications from it, and lots of people have. So I'm grateful for that as well, and aware that we are the lucky ones.
Yeah, and I think that was one thing that I was battling with, especially with the wedding, was, you know, I felt a bit selfish, feeling sad about having to postpone, because like you've just said, I'm lucky we've not been affected. No one I know directly has been affected. I am very lucky. You know, all I've had to do is postpone a wedding. It's not like it's cancelled. It's not like it's never going to happen. You know, it's incredible. And I think it seems so surreal. Sometimes I just have to sort of, you know, snap out of just my little daydream bubble, feeling safe at home, and be like, oh my gosh, we are living in a pandemic. Whoa.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for coming on and sharing, you know, what you've been up to. I've had people ask me about you. You know, how's Guest Spinster Robyn getting on, especially my live streams. So hopefully that will satisfy your curiosity.
I hope so. Any questions, I'll happily reply as well in the comments.
Do you want to do the finish?
Yes. Yay! Thank you for watching. Bye!